Hello, my name is Dominic, and I'm the programmer that was in charge of creating the new encounter or spawning system. Recently, we've added some new server settings for you to play around with, mainly to control the character spawn distance. So without further ado, let's start by showing you how the default settings work that we use on our official servers. As you can see, the character starts spawning around the time I jump over the river. Interesting fact, we have recently increased the default puppet call distance on our official servers from 150 to 250 meters. More on that later. Now, let's change the character spawn distances for large POIs. This spawn distance is only applied to the character spawning, not to the distance where the actual encounter is triggered. This setting can be located in the World section under the New Encounter subsection, and the setting equations are the one I'm currently hovering over with my mouse, separated into Low Threat Zone, or the Outside World, and Large POIs. In this example, I'm changing the distances from 200 to 220 meters. For this change to actually have any meaning, we recommend increasing the Mid-Threat Zone encounter radius, so the spawn characters get encompassed by the owning encounter, which is the setting I'm hovering currently. Note that increasing the encounter radius will reduce the number of encounters created in a single zone, so play around with other settings in combination with these new ones to get the effect you desire. Jumping over the river, you can see that the characters started spawning around the same distance they had on the original settings. This is what I had mentioned earlier. The settings we just changed only work on characters, not the encounters that spawn them. So, let's demonstrate how to have encounters spawn further from zones. First of all, let's head to the NPC subsection and change the puppet call distance, so we can actually see them spawn on longer distances. In this example, 1000 meters. Call distance is essentially the distance on which an object can exist on the client. Being further than that destroys it, freeing up resources. Moving to the encounter subsection, the spawn distance and encounter radius settings remain the same as in the last example. But in addition to that, we are also doubling the zone activation distance. Every zone has an area where encounters can spawn. You can look at the edges of the POI as the edges of this area. In addition to that, every zone has an activation area where encounters can start spawning. While a player is inside this area, encounters will spawn on the nearest edge of the previously mentioned area, rather than on the location of the player. And now, as I was walking towards the same town as before, the character spawned much earlier and on a much longer distance. Please note that the activation setting has no effect while you're already inside the POI, as you've already moved past the activation area. Also note that high-threat zones, such as police stations and other similar specialized areas, have no dedicated server settings. Thank you for your attention, and expect further server settings and encounter system improvements in the future. Bye!